Errol Flynn's story didn't start with the bright lights of Hollywood, but rather on the rugged island of Tasmania. Born in 1909, Flynn was anything but a conventional child. His early years were marked by mischief and rebellion. He wasn't the kind of boy to sit quietly in class. Rumor has it he was expelled from school for
many
biting
wartime
the
films may be
testicles of
Flynn's
sheep,
portrayal
an
of
act
Gunner's
that sums
character.
up the wild streak he carried through his life. Before fame, Flynn bounced through a series of adventures that hinted at the swashbuckling role
Miles
he
Hendon,
would later
with
play on
Hendon's
screen.
guiding hand.
In his youth, Flynn was drawn to the outdoors, roaming Tasmania's wilderness with a fearless spirit. He was
They
expelled from
Died with Their
several
Boots On
schools
is
due
a
to his
film on the
reckless
famous civil
behavior and
Custer, played
penchant
by Errol
for breaking
Flynn,
rules.
is written to have
It was
been
clear
dashing
early
and
on that he wasn't going to live a life bound by convention. These rebellious years shaped the daring, risk-taking personality that would become his trademark. Flynn's
finale
early
is rife
adulthood
with emotion
was equally
and kills.
restless.
Number
He
7,
worked odd
Objectives,
jobs
Burma.
and traveled extensively. At one point, living in New Guinea, where he mined for gold and became deeply fascinated with exotic wildlife. This part of his life was almost as adventurous
When
as
they
his
discover the
films,
Japanese lying
filled
in
with
wait at their
stories of
rendezvous
crocodile
site,
hunts
and the
and
soldiers
jungle
must
escapades.
escape.
These experiences forged the image of a man who wasn't just playing heroes on screen, but living that thrill in real life. Eventually, Flynn set his sights on Hollywood.
That time, with their
His path,
cliched
there
and
wasn't instant
romanticized
fame,
white
but a
scarves
steady
and
climb.
chivalry amongst
He
one
began
another
working
in the air.
small
Notably,
roles in
it showcases
films,
the emotional
gradually
scars
building a
incurred by
reputation for his charm and striking good looks. His breakthrough came with the 1935 film Captain Blood, where he portrayed a heroic pirate with effortless
Flynn
charisma.
breathes life into the
Audiences
classic pilot
couldn't get
archetype
enough of his
from his victory.
Just
swashbuckling
behind the German
style,
lines.
agile
No chance for
sword
flight to get
fights,
through.
daring escapes, and that roguish grin. Flynn had found his niche, and Hollywood quickly capitalized on it. The following year, Flynn cemented his place as the
We
quintessential
see him regularly
swashbuckler
clash with,
the
including the
adventures of
heavyweight
Robin
championship
His
between Queen
portrayal of
Elizabeth
Robin
I
Hood
and
was
Robert Devereux,
electrifying,
the Earl of
full of bravado and an almost magnetic charm. The film was a massive success, and Flynn became a household name almost overnight. He seemed to embody the heroic ideals of the characters he played: daring, bold,
the Seahawk.
and larger
Jeffrey
than life.
Thorpe is the
But
captain of
beneath
the Albatross.
the polished image, there was more to Flynn than met the eye. His roles were full of heroism, but his real life was a far messier affair. Early success
Colorized
did
versions
not
of the
tame
film
his
were
wild
distributed on
spirit.
VHS
If
and on
anything,
American Tell the Movie
it seemed
had been
to fuel
released
it.
on DVD.
The man who played so many heroes was also a rebel who never quite fit into the Hollywood mold. What's fascinating is how much his off-screen persona blended with his screen characters. He wasn't just an actor pretending to be
for
daring.
profit, and
He lived like
as
one.
such,
But the
ships
very
blood to the
qualities
West
that
Indies
made him
as slave
beloved on
labor.
screen also led him into trouble. The same recklessness that thrilled audiences sometimes got him tangled in scandals and controversies. So,
Despite this,
from his rough
Blood
beginnings
puts
in
together
Tasmania
earns
to
them
his
fame
rise
amongst
as
Buccaneers Brotherhood.
Hollywood's
Having
swashbuckling
virtually
star,
unknown actors
Errol
in the lead
Flynn's
roles
life
was a significant
anything
risk
but
for Warner.
ordinary. He lived on his own terms, often blurring the lines between the myth and the man. And that's just the beginning. The charming hero the public saw was only one side of a much darker and more
The
complex
tale of
story.
Robin Hood is as
But
timeless
behind
as
that
the
charming grin, a storm was brewing. Errol Flynn wasn't just a star on a silver screen. He was the undisputed king of Hollywood's wild nightlife. While audiences adored his heroic swashbuckling
display
roles,
in this classic
behind the
performance
scenes,
by a
Flynn's
star who
life
got his
was a
chance to
whirlwind
shine
of
when a
parties,
studio
excess, and chaotic energy that earned him a notorious reputation. Hollywood's golden era was famous for glitz and glamour, but Flynn took it to a whole new level. He was known for bringing vodka straight to the orange juice
mobilized
at
amid
breakfast,
hiding from the
a
occupying
casual
German
cocktail that
soldiers.
set the tone for a day fueled by booze and indulgence. His parties were legendary, packed with the era's elite, but often spinning out of control. Stories abound of brawls breaking out, fueled by drunken bravado
May I be
and raw
permitted to
tempers.
forego all these honors?
Flynn didn't
which are
just
meant-
attend these
Flynn's
wild
command-
gatherings. He was often the spark. Bare-knuckle fights erupted at his parties, and Flynn was no stranger to throwing punches himself. Beyond the alcohol-fueled chaos, Flynn was also known to experiment with
We
harder
see his
substances.
life from entering West Point
Rumors
Academy
swirled
until
about
his death
his use
during
of
the
opium, a dark secret hidden beneath his charming exterior. This added a dangerous edge to his lifestyle that many Hollywood insiders quietly acknowledged but rarely spoke of publicly. Yet, for all his unpredictability,
they died with their boots
Flynn
on.
had a
His new
charisma
regiment
that
into
kept him
order.
at the center of the scene. David Niven, a fellow actor and chronicler of Hollywood's golden days, once said, "You always knew where you stood with Errol because he let you down." It was an acknowledgement of Flynn's mercurial
The
nature.
Japanese soldiers
You could
guarded
count
it.
on his presence,
However, their
but
extraction
also
from
on
the area
his
is
unpredictability. He was a friend who could vanish or show up at any moment, often with wild stories and an even wilder temper. This reputation for living on the edge was both a magnet and a warning sign.
Errol Flynn brings the
Studios
emotions
loved
of
the
a World War
box
I
office
pilot to
draw,
life.
but worried about the chaos he brought. Flynn's wild escapades sometimes threatened his career, but his talent and screen presence kept him in demand. There is always a thin line between genius and self-destruction, and Flynn
James J.
danced
Corbett,
dangerously
played by
close
Errol
to
Flynn, is a
his
brash young
off-screen
bank.
lifestyle also revealed a man desperate for freedom. Flynn rejected the stiff, controlled image the studios tried to impose on him. Instead, he lived as if every day could be his last, chasing
The
thrills
movie was a
and
commercial
excess
success for
with
Warner
reckless
Brothers,
abandon.
earning close to
This approach made him a beloved figure among his peers, but also sowed the seeds of numerous scandals. Hollywood wasn't just a backdrop for Flynn's stories. It was a stage for his real-life drama. The parties, the fights,
and played by
and the
Errol Flynn
rumors
in this
created a
1940s
whirlwind
Swashbuckler is
around him
instantly
that was impossible to ignore. While the public admired the dashing hero on screen, the reality was a man constantly teetering on the edge, charismatic but volatile. But that chaos got darker and more dangerous.
and a means of
Errol
positively
Flynn's
influencing
dazzling
the American
on-screen
public's
charisma
view.
couldn't protect him from a storm that hit in 1942, a scandal so explosive it shook Hollywood and made headlines worldwide. Flynn was accused by two teenage girls of sexual assault, turning the beloved Swashbuckler
Captain Blood is
into a
another
figure of
swashbuckling tale
intense
starring Errol
controversy
Flynn
overnight.
as the film's
The
namesake.
accusations were headline-grabbing and brutal. Newspapers screamed, "Robin Hood accused of sexual assault," casting a dark shadow over Flynn's heroic image. The public was stunned. How could a
Bishop,
man who had
who is quite
charmed
taken by blood
millions with
and
his
recommends
daring
him as
roles
the
be
governor's
involved
physician?
in something so sinister? The trial quickly became one of the most sensational in Hollywood history. Flynn's defense was masterful yet unsettling. Rather than focusing solely on denying the charges,
Star
his
and
lawyers
symbol of
crafted
an
a narrative
unvanquished
that played
man
on
during the
Flynn's
American
reputation
Depression.
as a virile, irresistible man, what they called a red-blooded American boy. The argument wasn't just innocence. It was a twisted defense that his fame and magnetic personality made the alleged behavior believable
From wooing
or
Lady
even
Marian,
excusable
goodness,
in the eyes of the public. The courtroom drama was intense. Flynn's legal team attacked the credibility of the accusers, highlighting inconsistencies and painting them as opportunists trying to cash in on his fame. Meanwhile, Flynn maintained a charming,
every street.
almost
When you came to my
cocky
house, you told
demeanor
me
that
she'd gone ahead
seemed to
with Gert.
sway the jury. His star power was on full display. The same charisma that had won over audiences now worked in the courtroom. In the end, Flynn was acquitted. The verdict left many divided.
We're
Some
responsible
believed
for the
justice had
protection
been
of
served,
100,000 square
while
miles
others
of
felt the
territory.
trial exposed a troubling truth about the power dynamics in Hollywood. The case wasn't just about Flynn's innocence or guilt. It revealed how celebrity status could influence the legal system and public.
Trade center!
But the trial's aftermath
From
was
Custer's
just
last
as
goodbye
impactful
to his wife.
as the trial itself. Flynn's reputation was forever altered. While he continued to act in major films, the shadow of the accusations followed him. Hollywood insiders whispered, and fans debated
And Powers
whether the man
Aircraft,
behind
the
the mask of
paratroopers,
Robin
led by
Hood
Captain
was
Nelson.
truly a hero. Despite the acquittal, the scandal hinted at a darker side of Flynn's life. One that wasn't just about wild parties or rebellious youth, but something far more troubling. The trial opened a window into the
Flynn's
complexities
accolades
of a
for
man
emotional
who
range
lived
served him
fast,
well when making the
pushed
call to delay their
boundaries, and sometimes crossed lines. This chapter of Flynn's life remains one of the most controversial, a reminder that fame and fortune can mask deep, painful secrets. It also marked the beginning of a
1938's The Dawn
series
Patrol,
of
starring
scandals and
Errol Flynn
rumors
as Captain
that would
Courtney.
continue to swirl around the actor for years to come. And that was only one scandal. He was just getting started. Errol Flynn's personal life was never far from the headlines, but his relationship with Beverly Odland took controversy to a whole new level.
The film was made almost immediately
Beverly was
after
just
the 6-month
15
raid by
when she
Merrill's
became
marauders.
Flynn's girlfriend, a fact that shocked even a Hollywood audience accustomed to scandal. Their relationship wasn't just a secret. It was something Flynn flaunted openly, adding fuel to the fire surrounding his already turbulent life.
I haven't got time to argue.
Flynn's
This is a big
involvement
fight.
with
Get out of
Beverly
line.
wasn't just a fleeting fling. It lasted for several years and was marked by public appearances that raised eyebrows. The mother of Beverly later detailed the relationship in a memoir titled The Big Love, revealing the extent of Flynn's influence on the young girl and
A
the
Tale
wild
of Love
lifestyle
and-
they shared. This book was later adapted into a film, The Last of Robin Hood, which explored the complexities and dark undercurrents of their affair. What made this relationship even more shocking was Flynn's disregard for societal norms and legal boundaries. In an era when such a relationship would be scandalous enough on its own, Flynn lived openly with Beverly, partying publicly and dismissing the criticism that followed them. He seemed to embrace the rebellion.
Blood makes an
living as though
impression on the Port
rules
Royal
didn't
military
apply to him.
commander's niece.
Their time together was a whirlwind of glamour and excess, but it ended on a tragic note. Flynn died at the young age of 50, and Beverly was reportedly at his side in his final moments. His death marked the end of an era, both for Hollywood and
A
for the
nobleman
wild
by the
man
name
who
of
had
Sir
become
Robin of Locksley.
synonymous with adventure and controversy. The affair with Beverly Odland is a stark example of how Flynn's off-screen life often mirrored the reckless characters he played on film, but with far more serious consequences.
The central
It
figures are
highlighted the
Terence
darker
Stensgaard
side
and her
of his
romantic partner,
personality,
Patient.
one that blurred the lines between charm and manipulation, between romance and exploitation. For many, the story of Flynn and Beverly raises difficult questions about power, influence, and the cost of fame.
Edward returns
Their
to the
relationship
palace before
wasn't
the
just
coronation.
a scandal. It was a reflection of a man who lived on the edge and pushed boundaries that most would never dare to cross. And doesn't end there. The golden days of Errol Flynn's swashbuckling fame couldn't last forever. As the
A highly
1940s wore
romanticized
on,
military
cracks
commanders
began to
who sent
show
pilots
beneath
to their
the
early
charismatic hero's dazzling exterior. Flynn's relentless party lifestyle, wild excesses, and risky behavior started to catch up with him, affecting both his health and his career in ways few could ignore.
Glad to see you.
By the late
Yeah, glad.
1940s
We gave you up for
and
lost.
early
Yeah.
1950s, Flynn was no longer the unstoppable force he once was on screen. His physical condition deteriorated. Years of heavy drinking, substance use, and late nights took a visible toll.
As he
struggled
sees
with
so many
chronic
of his brothers in
illnesses,
arms killed
including
before
heart problems and liver issues, conditions largely linked to his hard-living habits. Friends and co-stars noticed a change. The once vigorous and vibrant actor seemed worn down, sometimes barely able to finish a day's shoot.
Squadrons ordered to
Flynn's
destroy.
professional reputation
Zule 60
also
kilomet-
suffered. Directors and studios became increasingly wary of his unpredictability and declining reliability. His box office appeal was fading, and roles became scarcer. The studios, once eager
Earl
to
of
cast
Essex.
him
Critics
as the
praised
heroic
Davis's
lead,
role.
now hesitated, concerned about delays, erratic behavior, and health-related absences. Despite these challenges, Flynn refused to slow down. He continued accepting roles, often in smaller productions or international
taking that
films
from the
that
king,
lacked
your
the
father.
prestige of his earlier work. His determination to keep working revealed both a need to maintain relevance and a desperation fueled by financial troubles. Over the years, Flynn had accumulated significant debts,
Blood.
partly due to
Based on the
legal fees from
1922 novel,
scandals
only the
and a
uncut
lifestyle
100
that demanded a constant flow of cash. Yet, even as his health declined, Flynn retained a certain magnetic charm. His stories, wild antics, and unabashed bravado still captivated those around him. Although the
Nice
edge
Jamaica,
had
and
dulled.
straight we sail
There was
for
a tragic sense to his final years. A man who had conquered adventure on screen, but was losing the battle in real life. The contrast between Flynn's public image and private struggles became more pronounced. Fans remembered the dashing hero,
Character,
but the
Miles
truth
Hendon,
was a man
with Hendon's
battling
guiding
demons
hand.
that no sword fight could solve. His legacy was complicated, a brilliant actor with a troubled soul. Flynn's health issues eventually forced him to seek medical treatment, but the damage was done. In 1959,
when they discovered the
at just
Japanese
50 years
lying in
old,
wait at their
Flynn
rendezvous
died
site,
suddenly
and the
from a
soldiers
heart
must
attack,
escape,
cutting short a life that had burned bright but fast. His passing sparked an outpouring of grief, but also renewed discussion about the cost of his wild lifestyle. His final years serve as a stark reminder that behind the swashbuckling
between
hero
Queen Elizabeth
was a
I
man who lived
and Robert Devereux,
dangerously
the Earl
and
of,
paid a steep
including the
price.
heavyweight champion.
Flynn's story isn't just one of fame and fortune. It's also a cautionary tale about the toll that fame and excess can take. But Flynn's legend wouldn't fade quietly. In fact,
The Seahawk.
the stories about him
Jeffrey
would
Thorpe is the
only
captain
grow
of the Albatross.
wilder after his death. Errol Flynn may have died in 1959, but his legend didn't just survive, it exploded into something larger than life, almost mythic. Hollywood's swashbuckling prince became an eternal symbol of charm, danger, and scandal, with stories about him growing wilder long after his final curtain call. Flynn's posthumous legacy is a tangled mix of admiration, speculation, and darker rumors that continue to captivate fans and critics
Having
alike.
virtually unknown
In the
actors
years
in the
after
lead
his
roles
death,
was a significant
Flynn's
risk
name
for Warner.
remained synonymous with daring adventure. But the man behind the myth was scrutinized more than ever. Memoirs, biographies, and films like The Last of Robin Hood revisited his controversial relationships.
The Japanese soldiers
and
guarded
infamous
it.
scandals,
However, their
exposing
extraction from the
sides
area
of
is
Flynn the public had never fully understood before. The Hollywood Golden Boy, it turned out, was a far more complicated figure, part hero, part anti-hero. One of the most persistent rumors after Flynn's death concerned
Captain
his
Blood
health
is another
and cause
swashbuckling
of
tale
passing.
starring Errol Flynn as
Officially,
the
he
film's
died of a
namesake.
heart attack, but whispers suggested substance abuse and decades of excess played a heavy role. Speculation about drug use, hidden addictions, and the long-term effects of his reckless lifestyle added layers of mystery and tragedy.
Every house, every
to his
street.
story.
When you came to my house, you
Flynn's
told me if you come ahead with
tumultuous
dirt.
relationship with Beverly Odland also remained a subject of fascination and debate. The controversy surrounding their age difference, the power dynamics, and the darker implications of their affair fueled endless
Flynn's
discussion.
accolades for
Was Flynn
emotional
a
range
charming
served him
rogue
well when
or a
making the
man
call
who
to delay their
exploited his
We're
fame?
responsible for
The
the
line
protection
between
of
victim
100,000.
and villain blurred, leaving historians and fans divided. In addition to personal rumors, Flynn's impact on Hollywood was undeniable.
What do you mean $2?
He set the
Supposed to be
standard for
$1.
the swashbuckler hero,
fight.
influencing generations of actors who sought to capture his mix of charisma, danger, and wit. Films inspired by his style and persona kept his spirit alive, proving that while his life was messy, his screen legacy was untouchable.
We gave up for lost.
Flynn's life
As he sees
also
so many of his
sparked
brothers in arms
conversations
killed
about the
before him.
cost of celebrity, the way fame can protect and enable troubling behavior, how Hollywood's glamorous facade often masks darker realities. His story serves as an early example of the complicated
Squadron's ordered to
relationship
destroy it.
between public
Sule
image
60
and
kilometer-
private truth, a theme that continues to resonate in today's celebrity culture. Even decades later, Flynn's name commands attention. Fans revisit his films, celebrate his adventurous spirit, and debate the man
Earl of
behind
Essex,
the legend.
critics praised
His
Davis's
story
role.
remains a potent mix of charisma, scandal, and tragedy. An unforgettable figure who lived on his own terms and left an indelible mark on Hollywood history. And maybe, just maybe, that's why Errol Flynn still fascinates us today. Because the real story is far more thrilling than any script Hollywood could write.